Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war. With the cross of Jesus going on before. Christ the royal master leads against the foe. Forward into battle, see his banners go. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war. With the cross of Jesus going on before. Like a mighty army, move the church of God. Brothers, we are treading where the saints have trod. We are not divided, all one body we. One in hope and doctrine, one in depth in charity. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war. With the cross of Jesus going on before. Crowns and thorns may perish, kingdoms rise and wane, but the church of Jesus constant will remain. Gates of hell can never against the church prevail. We have Christ's own promise, which can never fail. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war. With the cross of Jesus going on before. Onward, ye people, join our happy throng. Blend with ours your voices in the triumph song. Glory, laud, and honor unto Christ the King. This through countless ages men and angels sing. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war. With the cross of Jesus going on before.
Hey, from the fabulous band, I found a candidate for Congress. We have been looking all over for somebody who can lead us in Congress. And we've got this famous drummer. Well, he just became famous tonight as a drummer. But it's my privilege tonight, my humble privilege, to introduce a mighty man of God who has a fabulous background and who, like Christy, I don't think expected to be in politics because he kind of had a retirement. And then when he prayed about it, I guess, and saw the condition of our nation, felt like he needed to do something. And so, Joe, I praise God for your life. So tell us your full name Tell us what you're running for and what district, and tell us a little bit about your family life, and I hope you're not from Kauai. Where are you from? Okay.
Okay, well, actually, I do have family on Kauai, so but I have family on all islands, so it's okay, right?
Okay.
Yeah, my name is Joseph Akana. My family, basically, I'd like to say, was from all the islands. My father is actually grew up in Papakolea on a homestead. My grandma's side was from Kauai, like I mentioned. They're out at Anahola, Poipu, Hanalei.
We'll forgive you for that. But
It's okay. Well, the good news is my grandpa was on Maui.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
So I have a family that's up at Ulupalakua, Paia, and also I think somewhere up in the Wailuku area, somewhere right around here.
Wailuku?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I do have family on all islands, on Oahu, of course, and then of course on the Big Island as well.
Yeah. Wow.
So, yeah, family basically all over. My background, let's see. I grew up, went to school. No, okay, just kidding.
Tell about your mom and dad, because that's the reason why you were born in California. Right?
Well, yeah, my dad was in the military. So I was
Yeah.
born in California,
He was in the
unfortunately.
military, right?
No.
So, yeah.
Yeah, my dad was in the military, which was very different. If anybody's ever had or been in a military family, you know you're used to moving all the time. Mm-hmm. And so it was different when we finally got home. Dad retired in 1977. Mm-hmm. And when he came home, and it was one of those like, wow, we're going to actually be in a place that we can actually be for a while. Mm-hmm. Went to Nanakuli for a year. Then I was fortunate enough to be able to be blessed to actually attend Kamehameha schools. And graduated, well, let's just say many moons ago. No, back in 1982. And then I just said, well, what am I going to do now that I've graduated? What am I going to do? So I went and joined the Air Force myself. I was fortunate enough to be a intelligence analyst. I got.
Oh, so you're intelligent then? You probably
Well,
can
that's
fail our insane test and our stupid test because you went into intelligence. That was smart. That was intelligent of him to go into intelligence, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you qualify. To me, you qualify because you're intelligent. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm not going to touch that one, Pastor. That's okay. I qualified, but thank you. So
it was a very serious part of the nation work that you did. I know the secret.
Yeah, we get a lot of people may not understand what we do, right. And I try to put it in perspective for people to understand where we work as an intelligence analyst. Some people will look at. They go, have you ever watched those movies, those spy movies, and you see the guys out in the operation in the field, and you're like, you ever wonder who they're talking to?
Right, yeah.
You're like, they're on the phone, they're talking to somebody, and they say, hey, you got to turn right here, or turn left here, or do this. It's like, they were talking to somebody like me. Oh. So it's
intelligent person.
Yeah. Well, I'll say somebody like me, maybe not me. They were probably smarter than I was, but that's who they would be talking to. Right.
Network, which is very serious for the protection of our country, of course. Yes.
Exactly. And so you get to see some areas of the world that most people probably will never, ever get to see. You get to see reports on things that most people never, ever get to see, just because of the level of the clearance and the classification of it. And, when there are people talking about the ravages or what they think of the good things of socialism or communism, until you actually got to go see some of those. And you get to see a country that was, say, like Venezuela, that was at one time one of the richest nation in South America. And today you look at it, it's suffering from like 9,000% inflation rate. People can spend basically a wheelbarrow of money to buy a loaf of bread.
Well, you know what? I've got a member whose cousins, she was born in Venezuela, and she's cousins there that are quite wealthy. But during this crisis that they've had in the last couple of years, they're begging for bread. And so you don't want to have a suggestion? Send our politicians over there for, like a month or
That's
two.
Right.
And
That's
Europe, right. Okay. And I think my book says that's why they don't want to build a wall, because one day they're going to want to come back as illegal immigrants.
And they'll probably be treated better.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what? It's happening right here. We hear it on the news, and we still stay stupid. You know, I can't get that. Anyway, go ahead, sorry.
No, that's good. So what office am I running for? I'm running for Congressional District 2, formerly Tulsi Gabbard seat.
Okay, so what district, what
Yeah.
places, so that people in that area will know that it includes them?
So that's all of the neighbor islands.
All the neighbor
All of the neighbor islands, and rural Oahu, meaning basically starting in Nanakuli, going all the way out to the end of Kaina Point, Makaha area, then all the way out to around the point and wrapping down to Wahiwa, and back up to Kahuku, and then all the way down the windward side of Oahu, down to Makapu Point.
Wow, okay.
So it's pretty, yeah, it's a lot of, I think if I would have known what I was looking at before I started doing that, I probably would have said the definition of insanity, right? What am I thinking about, right? Let's do this thing over and over and over again, right?
Educated because you saw what was going on, and so tell us a little bit about your motivation to run.
Yeah, I think the main thing that got me motivated was that after I retired, you know, my background is after I worked in the military, got out, worked in the corporate world for a while. I got to be on the business side of the check, where I got to actually sign checks because I had a small business myself, and then also I got to cash the check because I was working for the federal government at the time, and so I got to see both sides of that. I was retired in about a year ago now, a little over a year. June of last year, I had a medical condition, and they said, we want you to, probably best thing if you just retire you. And just by the faith in God that I was able to actually come out of that today, that you see this guy standing here before me. Because if you would have saw me probably 2 years ago, you would have said, nah, we ain't voting for that guy, right? But it's just by the faith and trust in the Lord that he was going to get me through that. And today I'm doing great, I'm doing fantastic. No major issues as far as the condition and what happened. But, you know, you have to still be vigilant to make sure we continue to watch over ourselves.
What are the issues that really concern you that you want to represent Hawaii for?
Yeah, I think the most important thing, let me just retouch back on the motivation part, is the balance, right? Is we got to have balance in our legislators. They're having a 50 plus years of blue. No offense, Christy, okay, but 50 plus years of blue is like, wow, where's the balance, you know? They see so many bills that have crossed that any sane person will look at that and say, what are you guys doing? Wait, what were you calling them? The stupid and the insane, right? Yeah, the stupid and the insane. And only because it's like, what are you doing? Where is the checks? Where's the balance? So that was part of the issue. You know, we got to have this Napono, right? But you also have an opportunity right now. We have an opportunity to do great things for Hawaii, right? And we have an opportunity to win. We have an opportunity to make things better.
Right.
And if we don't, then what are we going to do? Look, let's look at what's been happening with this COVID, right? As a great example, right? We've seen businesses failing. We've seen families, relationships failing. We've seen a lot of stuff going wrong because people just don't know what to do with this, right? As an issue, and there's no plan. Yeah. You know, our current governor and on Oahu, our mayor, there's no plan. They have a tier system to open up sometime in the next 4 months if everything is good. Really? But in the meantime, people are hurting, right? Businesses are hurting.
Right.
Families are hurting. Right?
Absolutely, but I think one reason why those of us who are from the other islands especially need to have a change because of the inter-island cost of shipping things. And also getting things to the mainland, because we've got a monopoly now, and we've got a law that needs to be taken. Talk about that, because that is really what is affecting us on Maui. That's one reason why I'm supporting you. I'm depending on you to change the cost of inter-island transportation. I'm depending on some of our leaders to get back that system where we can go to Honolulu without flying over. We can take our car. I went only one time, and then this wonderful plan that Governor Lingle had was squashed because it considered the whales more important than us. You know, how stupid is that? They want to save the whales and let us suffer. And so, you know, I mean, listen, let's think about it. Think about it. They want to save the whales. They don't care. You know, I told one of the congressional delegates, I mean, one of our senators, he's already gone to his reward, but the year before he passed away, I was the one giving the invocation at the memorial ceremony there at Makawao. And so I had an opportunity. I wrote this thing, and I said, you know, to his aide, to be sure he gets to read it. I said, I'm waiting for somebody to do something about an inter-island travel. I said, for those of you in Honolulu, when your father has a heart attack, you call the ambulance, they pick him up, they take him to the hospital, the family goes and visits, they go home at night and they sleep in their own bed and they eat in their own house. For those of us, if my father, you know, just say my father had a heart attack, okay, he has to be medevac to Honolulu. If no more insurance, $15,000 to be medevac. You guys just drive down, right? $15,000. Then my mom wants to go be with him, so I have to go fly with her, so we got to pay for, sometimes the insurance pays for her, but I got to go pay. We got to rent a car, we got to rent a hotel, we got to eat outside. Nobody cares. Somebody care for us. Do something about that, and I'm depending on you. I'm putting you on the spot. He never talked to me about this, but I'm putting it in the ear, and it's going to be on Facebook, and he's going to be promising me something. Do you see our pain? Do you see our pain? Us on the outer island, sometimes we're forgotten. You know, and we want these simple things. We say we're ohana. I told the senator that, you know, I was telling this too. I said, you know what? We talk about ohana, but we cannot. It's getting so expensive with one airline that was monopolizing. One time I went to Honolulu, you know, with my sister for a funeral, and it was like, you know, in 3 days or something we had to go to the funeral. We buy a ticket. It cost me alone $400 round trip. $199 one way, 20-minute ride, 100 miles between Kahului and Honolulu. I said, they should have had the funeral in Las Vegas. I can get a package deal, I can have entertainment, I can go to the buffets, and almost as cheap. You know what I'm saying? This is why I say we're insane if we're going to keep on doing the same old thing and let our politicians that don't care, you know, run this place.
Oh, Pastor, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result.
That's right.
With never changing anything.
You're so intelligent. I really admire your intelligence.
That's the definition of insanity,
Yes,
right?
That's
so,
true.
To answer your question as to what can we do, let me ask you a question before that. How are you guys enjoying your 46% increase from the PUC? Pretty nice, right?
Right.
Right. I mean, I honestly, I heard that. I was like, how are they going to do that? Let's see, they're already suffering because we have the unemployment and, of course, and the tourist issues and nobody showing up and nobody. So now you're going to saddle them with additional costs leveraged onto them because of the 46% increase from the PUC, which makes, well, that's insanity, right? Why are we doing this, right? What are we going to do with this?
And we're stupid if we let insanity rule us. That's my book. Okay, I mean, really.
Pastor's cracking me up. Okay. So one of the things I continue to talk about, you mentioned it briefly, is this thing called the Jones Act.
Yes.
And the Jones Act, a lot of people have been trying to repeal it, revoke it, and I strongly agree that there is a place for the Jones Act. There is a reason why it's there. But we need to update that. It's a 1920s maritime law that's been around for over, 100 years now. And it was designed to do one thing, was protect domestic shipping. Right? So it was designed for. You had to have ships that were made in the USA, were flagged by the USA, were owned by the USA, and had 70% of the crew were USA. And that was great at the time because you had many, many shipping facilities that were available. Today, there's 2. And they produce anywhere from maybe 2 to 5 ships a year. And that's not enough to cover the level of what they need. So when I say update the Jones Act, is that I would like to see them change it to making it a non-made in the USA requirement. And I know that goes completely contrary to what the president may be saying about made in the USA. But we only got 2 ports making ships, right? And we have the amount of trade that's going on between, they can't handle it, the load. And so if we look at something like that to us here in Hawaii, what does that mean to us? Is that per family, if we were to change that one little statement in the Jones Act, based upon information from the Grassroots Institute, we would actually save every family about $1,800 a year, just by updating that. And here's why I say that. Their cost to ship a container from Shanghai, China, I know, talk about China, right? But from Shanghai, China, it has to go all the way across to the West Coast, to whether it be Seattle, San Francisco, Long Beach, or even San Diego, and then turn around, get shipped on a U.S.-made ship in order to be in compliance with the Jones Act, and then turn around and ship back to us. So the cost from Shanghai to California or the West Coast is about $800. The cost to ship it back to us is over $8,000, right? So we wonder where that cost is coming from. To the state, it would actually save us about $1.2 billion that we could use maybe for something else, like other programs, helping homeless vets, or helping somebody out on the street, or doing something that we could use that money for, right? But there's a second part to this, and that is that if we turn around and make Hawaii a port of entry, and when I say a port of entry, meaning those ships can now come directly in, that means there has to be federal dollars that come with that, because it becomes a federal port of entry, which means the Honolulu Harbor would have to be upgraded, the infrastructure upgraded to support that. Kahului would have to be upgraded to support that. Nawiliwili on Kauai, Hilo Harbor on the Big Island, and even Kauai High would all have to be upgraded to support that kind of infrastructure, that kind of business level. And essentially, what we make is Hawaii will become a business hub in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. What does that mean for us? Jobs, more higher paying jobs, different levels of jobs. We basically are turning it a whole nother industry in the state of Hawaii. And that's what we got to be looking at getting done.
And our cost of living, of course, would go down because things would be cheaper, you know?
No, we don't want to do that. We just want to keep going up higher and higher, right?
We want to stay insane, you know? Yeah, right.
Keep them going
So
higher.
anyway, we just want you to talk directly to the people and talk to them with your heart about your vision for Hawaii and what you would like them to do to help you. Oh, well, wait, you got to tell us about your motorhome thing. I don't know what you call it, but what's the name of it?
Clifford, right? You talking about Clifford?
We're going to have a Clifford Jr. on Maui, you know.
We are working towards that.
Yeah,
we're going to have a Clifford Jr. out here.
If you want to make donations for Clifford Jr., just let me know, okay? You know, these candidates really need money, and so, you know, look up their website. And, you know, a lot of times when, like, I'm old too, but, you know, when you're older, you kind of go out and you kind of go sign wave and all like that. You can pray if you're a Christian, and that helps a lot. But you can give money if you know, God has provided for you. But be a part of something, okay? And I want to tell you to register to vote. All my members, I want you to register to vote. Not only that, I want you to get your friends and family to register to vote. This is a very important election. And then be sure we have mail-in votes now. Okay, so maybe you can have a voting party or what. But I'm going to be responsible, and you can write me, any of you from anywhere. We're going to recommend you those candidates that are pro-life and pro-Israel, because God says if we bless Israel, we will be blessed. And you will see in our history of the United States, when we have honored God by honoring Israel, we have been blessed as a nation. And so I believe this is one reason why we have this president, and we're being blessed, because God is going to give us favor. But if you cannot do that, you know, you need to vote. But if you cannot do anything else, contribute something. You know, just if everybody does a little bit, it helps. So if you believe in a candidate, do something. Don't just sit down like Christy said. You know, faith without works is dead. You want something to happen, be a part of making something happen by contributing even a little bit. God will see that little seed, and he will honor that. So do your part. But I'd like for Joe to now conclude kind of and talk to the people directly and tell his vision and how you can help him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my vision basically, I'll just start with this, is I have 3 core values that I will stand by every single day of my life. And that is my faith, my family, and my freedom. I firmly believe that those are 3 things that if we can get those into our lives, following and trusting in God. I mean, Matthew, verse 22, 37 through 41 says, "What you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind. And you shall love your neighbor as yourself," right? And if you can do that, just think about just that. If you've loved your Lord your God with all your heart, and you love your neighbor as you would yourself, what else can you do, right? What else can you do other than to do that? And when you're able to have that kind of a strong faith, it also leads to the continual development of your family and your building up of your family and your strengthening of your family to raise them in the ways that they should be raised, so that when they are no longer under your house, that they have the benefits of having that strength in their house at that time for their children. And so we have a responsibility to raise up our children. We have a responsibility to take care of our children. If we don't take care of them, who will? Right? We've seen some crazy laws coming out of California, and I could not believe that when that law came out. Honestly, I about cried. And I'm talking about California Senate Bill 145, right? And it essentially allowed for pedophilia and all kind of things within a 10-year age range. I could not believe that's where they had gone to. And it's unfortunate, but they did, right? But if we're not taking care, you have sex trafficking, you have human trafficking, you have all of those things need to stop, right? We need to get that legislator in there. We need to make that process happen. I'm proud of the president that he allocated $100 million to work towards getting that under control and getting that, hopefully eradicating that out of the system, right? Getting rid of that whole issue with human trafficking and sex trafficking. And the third thing is basically freedoms. Talking about the First Amendment right, the right to praise your God. Really? You don't have a right to praise him now? But do you have a right to riot in the streets? You don't have the right to, we can't sit there and honor him in that way. We can't have a freedom of speech. We can't have the freedom of press. We can't have the freedom of religion, but they can. So why are they infringing on my rights? I have the same rights they have. Why can't I get those things done? Why can't I have that same amount of aptitude that they're giving to these other folks, right? So those are my 3 basic core values that I like I said, I will stand by that every single day. I think as a congressman, with the expectation that you have just levied on me, Pastor. Thank you, I appreciate that. I truly do. But we have to do what? First thing we got to do is we got to get this economy going. Right, we got to. There's too many people that are out there hurting. There's too many families that are feeling this crush.
I think
and
what
for
we
what?
need to, and what my booker is really wanting to let people know, is we've got to get the work ethic back and not handouts. We can get so easily depressed and discouraged that we will take handouts, even the best of us. But I think that instead we need to fight so that our government will let us work and earn, so we have respect for ourselves and respect for our country and have the opportunity to be all that we were able to be before. So we want our government to give us that opportunity. And when you think about voting, think about this. Are you going to vote for somebody who promises to give you more handouts? Or are you going to vote for somebody who will give you an opportunity to work hard and get your bills paid and your house and your car, whatever you can, like the American dream used to be? It's not been a country of handouts. That's socialism. That is communism. And what I say, that the reason why we've gone down that road is in my research, I found that the last 2 generations, they took out civic education and they don't even know what USSR stood for. These that are rioting don't know that Russia was called Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. And we're voting for socialists. You don't know. This is why they're tearing down all our landmarks, because they want to make a new culture, that counterculture. They don't appreciate working and getting your own respect. Just think about it. Don't be too stupid, okay? Just think about it. If everybody got handouts, who's going to give the money to give the handouts? Who? And you're trying to kill the rich off and stop them from, you know, getting creative ideas and reinvesting their money. Hello, don't be stupid anymore. One of these days, nobody's going to be able to give you handouts because no more money in the government. Work hard. Our nation was built on hard work, individual hard work. In my book, I said, look at the Vietnamese people. We got good Vietnamese restaurants. They're my friends, okay? Just a few years ago, you know, Vietnam, you know, they fled Vietnam in boats, some of them. And they came, and you know, within 10 years, some of them, my friends, became millionaires in America because they didn't come and depend on Social Security or handouts. They started to work hard, you know, and they make good food, yes. So good Vietnamese restaurants, and a lot of them can do the nails and the toenails and all like that. And everywhere in America I go, I travel, they got the Vietnamese, you know, whatever. They work hard, not only work hard, they live frugally, and they support each other. Family sticks together, and when I get prosperous, I try to help my sister get prosperous and her family, and my nieces and my nephews, and they built a network, and that's what everybody wants to come to America for. So why are we who are born here are stupid and don't do that? And we're following the failed countries in Venezuela and Europe. We're going backwards. Get smart. Okay,
well, Pastor, you said a couple things.
I get so fired up. I should close up.
You said a couple things there. Yeah, you said a couple things.
You need to pray for me. I was going to pray for you, but I think you need to
I'll pray for you. Give me 1 second, Pastor, real quick. But you said something that was very interesting. It's not about getting a hand out.
Yeah.
I think people want a hand up.
Yes.
Right. And if we can get that hand up. And I mean, think about this. Our state government right now has approximately $2 billion that they can't figure out how to spend. And yet at the same time, you have estimated over 1,000 businesses have closed that are gone. They'll never come back. Right? Whether they be on Honolulu, whether they be in Kona, whether they be... We were just down today walking through Lahaina, and you've seen so many businesses closed. We were in Wailuku area, and you've seen so many businesses closed. We were in Kona about a week and a half ago, and I mean, it used to be a thriving enterprise area. And you looked at it and you go, where are all the businesses? They're all closed, right? So if we have that level, it's like, what are businesses looking for? They're looking for a hand up. Help us out, guys. We've been helping you for so long. Help us out, right? And they're working hard, and that's all they're looking for. And I think that's a tribute to most of the American people, is that's what they're looking for, is, hey, give us a hand up.
And you know what? Us crazy courageous, we're looking for people like you who will teach us again and give us opportunity to have dignity again. We should, and we love, people love, you know, being a pastor, we have people who have needs and stuff like this. I always give them a little job. It makes them feel good instead of me just giving them free food. They come, some of them, you know, we were feeding them during this pandemic thing, hot lunches. Oh, can we mow the lawn? Or can we go, you know, they want to. It gives them dignity and self-worth. And so, you know, say your closing thing, and I'll say a prayer blessing on you.
Yeah, so go to joeacana.com. I think the biggest thing I could ask any of you for is your vote. That's the most important thing that we could get. I think Christy would say the same thing, is ask for that vote.
So they don't forget.
Oh, my name, Joe Acana, right? Let me repeat, Joe Acana, real simple. and not, okay? But it's just a vote for a vote, right? But not just your vote, but the vote of yourself and 10 of your friends, and 10 of your friends, and 10 of their friends, and 10 of their friends.
Yes.
Essentially, the 100 times 100, right? And we win this thing. Realistically, we'll win this thing. My page, joeakana.com. Please go there if you're, like Pastor said, if you can donate, would be greatly appreciated. But if you can donate your time, if you can donate your 10 minutes a day just to make a few phone calls, if you can donate an hour a day to go out there and sign wave with us.
Yes.
I tell you, we have the most fun I've probably ever seen at a sign waving event.
Yeah.
Up to 6 months ago, I never did a sign waving thing. Right? Couldn't do it. Federal government said we're not allowing you to do those things. But man, I have had so much fun, and you get an aerobic workout while you're doing this, right? Because you're out there sign waving, and you get the music going on behind you. It's like you're in Zumba class or something, right? But yeah, you get a chance to have fun with this.
Yeah.
You know, we get out there and just have a great time. So everybody, I just encourage you. Remember, the ballots are going to drop for Oahu. They drop on the 5th. I believe Big Island on the 6th or 7th. Here is going to be the 8th, and I believe Kauai is going to drop on the 9th. Be cognizant of that. I would highly advise you not to mail your vote in, even though they tell you to mail it in. You don't have to. You can actually take it to a live place. I think that opens on the 20th. I'm not sure where it is on Maui.
We'll find out.
It's right here in Wailuku. Okay, right here in Wailuku. In Oahu, it's on at the. I keep saying Honokai Hale, but that's not correct. It's Kapolei Hale and Honolulu Hale. Kauai, I'm not sure exactly, but I know they have a district there, and then Big Island, it's Kona and Hilo. They have we can actually go do your in-place voting, right? I highly encourage everyone to do that. Just because you want to make sure that you get your ballot in, right? And get it in on time.
Yes.
I mean, I've been seeing so many people where they said, I got my ballot in, but I don't know if it counted, right? That same thing. Because when you mail, tell me this has never happened to somebody, right? You mail in your mortgage check, and some reason it got delayed in the mail, didn't quite get there, went around the island. Right. Came around Wai'ihu, up the way up to all the way around, back it around, and finally got to your mortgage company, and they say, sorry, you're late. Here's your fee. Thank you. Yeah. Right? Tell me that doesn't happen. That's happened to me before. Right? Mm-hmm. So I highly encourage everyone to go take your ballot down, physically hand it in, get a receipt that said you did, and then at least you know your vote is being counted.
Amen. And you don't want to challenge pastors. We need to be like union leaders, okay? We need to educate our people. We need to see that they're registered to vote. We need to tell them who supports our issues. Don't vote just because your cousin is running or your, neighbor or whatever. We're voting for people to represent our values, and it is very, very serious, okay? And so as pastors, we have a tremendous responsibility to let the people know that it is an important election, that they need to pray, they need to register, and we need to be like the union leaders. You know why we're so democratic, the union leaders? My cousin was a union official and all like that, but what they do is, and it's not wrong, they believe in their cause. And so they educate their union members, and they be sure that they're registered to vote. And, they even bus some of these old people to the polling places before and tell them who to vote for. And if they can take it that seriously, let's not be stupid. Let's rise up to the challenge and do the same. We can learn from the people in darkness, the Bible says. And let's not be so proud and holy that we cannot do the same thing. We are shepherds of our flock. We are guardians of our nation. Our nation, if you believe in the Judeo-Christian concept, it was started by passionate people who knew their Bible. Many of them were ministers and signed the Declaration of Independence, got involved, put their home and their estate and everything and their name, and some of them gave their lives for our independence. So we need to do the same. And so we're going to pray a blessing. Wherever you are, extend your hand toward Joe, and we're going to pray God's blessing. Father, we are so humbled that you would call people who felt inadequate and yet they realized they needed to be courageous. We pray, Lord, especially for Christy and Joe who are here tonight. We thank you for their humility. We're so glad that they're not like regular politicians that only say something. I have learned their heart. They really want us to be a better state, a better country. So I pray blessings and favor. I pray that you will supply all their needs according to your riches in glory by Christ Jesus. And I pray for peace in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, thank you for listening. Next Thursday night, we're going to start at 7 o'clock next Thursday. And as we have been on 7 o'clock for our other Facebook things, we had to do it at 7:30 tonight, and we're a little bit delayed. But 7 o'clock, I'm going to give you the test next week for insanity, because I want to be sure that you don't have that disease, okay? Or you can buy my book on Facebook, and if the book comes out, whatever. But buy a present for the Democrats, okay? They need to read this book. Well, for the Republicans too. It's not a political book. We just need to be educated as to what the enemy has plotted for over 100 years to create a civil war. And we have it now. We need to stop it. It's a different kind of war. But we can. If everybody believes that our nation was founded on great principles, you need to get out and vote. So God bless you. Love you all. And come back next week to learn a little bit more about the book. And if you're a candidate there and would like to be interviewed, just call me and I'll give you the privilege of doing the same by telling where you're from and your family and what issues you stand for. But I am going to ask you about your stand on life, because I'm getting old and I don't like the end of life suicide bill that was passed last year, okay? I don't want to go to heaven before my time, okay? And if you're not aware that they passed it, be aware. I want to reverse that, Christy. When you go over there, I expect you to reverse it, because I'm getting to be almost 80 years old. I don't like them pull the plug on me, when I still want to live. So God bless you, and stay in tune with God. He will lead us. God bless America, and have a great evening. Amen.